to talk about the church and some options for construction in the future. So one of the things I forgot to mention, go back to the second video, rendering number 2. One thing I forgot to mention was the color of the columns. The stenciling is the same, but the first rendering had kind of a lighter blue. Don't know if baby blue would be the right description, but the second one has a darker blue. It kind of matches the other, the coloring that is up in some of the ceiling parts of the church. This video is mainly about seating chart and also a few other things in the church. So first and foremost, whenever we have a funeral, especially when the casket is present, it takes up a decent amount of space. So we could maybe say it's this much. And so when two things are difficult when a casket is present. The first is incensing towards the end of Mass when I offer incense over the casket. And then also when people are coming forward for Holy Communion, when they would be going on either the right or the left. It's very tight. So one of the things that we've been discussing or throwing around is, we're probably going to be getting new pews, utilizing the pew ends, but getting new backs, benches, and kneelers built. So we have a great opportunity to change the seating chart a little bit to, so this box is going to go away. So if we were to carve out maybe this much space of those first two pews, that would give us room to kind of allow for some of that to happen a lot easier. Another thing that happens often in our parish church is at the distribution of Holy Communion, we have two people in the center, usually deacon and I, and then extraordinary ministers assist there maybe at the end of the communion rail, standing here and here. What happens is when people are coming forward, there's not a whole lot of space to get behind a person and go to the extraordinary minister. We've had people kind of bumping into each other. I just want to try and prevent that as much as we can. So that's one part of the floor seating chart, however we want to say it. Another thing that we want to explore is moving the baptismal font from here to the back of the church underneath of the choir loft. And the reasoning for this is it's appropriate to have the baptismal font close to an entrance to the church. It helps better symbolize the reality that baptism is that entrance into the church. It grants us entrance or admittance to the other sacraments. So, and one thing that would be helpful is if we did move it, we could just, in a way, shift these pews over rather than, so imagine that, say, where we have approximately, 4 people could sit in this pew or maybe a few more. If, we shifted these completely over to maybe match, I don't know if we'd push them all the way to the end, but opening these spots up here would also allow for a few more people who have limited mobility to be seated, whether it's because of wheelchairs. A lot of people who have limited mobility are sitting over here and having their walkers over by the candles and the like. So just want to offer that as a possibility. One final part, I had mentioned this in a letter several months ago, but whether or not we want to have a confessional that's out in the open, a little more, not public, but a little more visible. When our church was built, the south entrance over here did not exist. And both underneath of the large windows of the resurrection and also of the nativity of Jesus, confessionals were right underneath of there. So would it be good to entertain the idea of putting one back under this north window over here? It's kind of over yonder. It's off of the photo. Let's see if I can bring one back. So it'd be, and they did kind of show this with a computer rendering, what it would maybe look like. My concern is that with this heating and cooling register unit here, it would not be, the confessional would have to be pretty small. Another option is putting one back underneath of the choir loft again, so maybe opposite the baptismal font, um, where one would be built up against that wall. Um, and don't know, uh, definitely open to options for that. Two things that we would have to be aware of and concerned about is one, sound. When a person goes to confession, they're obviously talking about things that are not, that they're not proud of in terms of their sins. So we want to keep that private. But also, so we'd have probably a white noise machine going on to help muffle that sound. And also, soundproofing is a lot better than what it used to be. So there's that as well. But also space. We often put a casket back there for viewing before a funeral. It might be a little awkward to have, and maybe we just move it over to the other side in terms of that. So, again, open to your suggestions. And so, going back to this, the possibility of carving out these front pews. So, this spot here, and then that spot here, for a little easier flow of traffic, foot traffic in our church. God bless. Bye.